Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. Subscribe, like, share. What's going on, family? Good to see everybody again. Good to hear from everybody. If you want to know when a new episode is coming out, hit the top right notification bell on YouTube. And that's one thing I want to tell you guys. This whole time I've been saying subscribe, like, share. I've had the page up for over 2 years. And you have to leave the page if you're watching on Facebook or other media platforms to go to YouTube to subscribe, like, and share. And this whole time, it just dawned on me, I should have just did an Elephant Man Podcast page on Facebook. Duh, should have been had that done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a small page on Facebook. You can subscribe, like, share from the page on Facebook. I'm going to have every video that I ever shot within the last 2.5 years on there, so you can be able to access it. Also, when I do a live, or if I do a live on YouTube, then it'll come straight to the Facebook page. All right, today we're gonna talk about the dream of the nations, statue of the nations, and it's in Daniel chapter 2. Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebucadnezzar, he was in charge of the whole region of Babylon, right? He was one of the greatest kings in the whole region of Babylon. And Israel, Judah, went to captivity. Yahweh said you have to go into captivity for 70 years because of the iniquity and because of the sins and because of the disobedience that you did. And so for 70 years, we were in captivity. And Daniel was a young man when he first went into captivity. And he was an older man by the time he got out of captivity. So this takes place from Daniel chapter 2, a nightmare in Babylon. Okay, it talks about the main kingdoms over time of the world, of the history of the world. And Daniel was a Hebrew who went to Babylonian captivity, like I said. But Daniel means God is my judge. God is my judge. That's what Daniel means. And we always see people saying only God can judge me. And so that is true. God can judge you and will judge you. So we have to walk circumspectly in this life, because only what you do for God in this life will last. Everything else is pretty much vanity. You can enjoy things. I'm not saying you can't do things. I'm not saying you can't enjoy things, but everything that you pretty much do in this life is vanity. Okay? So Daniel chapter 2, verse 1, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams. His spirit was troubled and sleep left him. All right? So Nebuchadnezzar was the king, right? He has the royal power of the rule of Babylon. And he had a dream that was just so terrible. And he woke him up, and he was real frustrated and aggravated and fearful. Okay? Ancient times, dreams of royalty carry great significance. So when the king or somebody, an emperor or high esteem, had a dream, it meant big business back then. It was a big deal. The word trouble in Hebrew is Pa'am, P-A-A-M, and it means to thrust, impel, or agitate. And just like Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar's dream shaped his spirit and led him in a desperate search for answers. So he was going all over Babylon trying to find answers, right? Chapter 2, verse 2. The kings commanded the magicians, enchanters, sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to summon and tell his dream. So they came and stood before the king. These group of people were the king's wise council in Babylon, pagan nation, pagan society at that time. There was this official high council, wise council, right? So magicians, they practice magic, of course. Enchanters, right? There's a conjurers or necromancers. Necromancy means to talk to the dead. Those who conjure up and communicate with the deceased. Sorcerers were those who engage in witchcraft and casting spells. And the Chaldeans, they were known for studying astrology and astronomy. So these were the wise council of pagan Babylon. So he wouldn't call for all of them to interpret this dream. O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we shall show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the word is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be torn limb from limb, and your house will be laid in ruins. Wow. So he said, I'm not going to tell you what this dream is. You're going to tell me what this dream is. You're going to tell me what the dream is and interpret it for me. And this wise counsel said, there is not a man on earth who can meet the king's demands, for no great power or a powerful king has asked such a thing, any magician, enchanter, or Chaldean. So the decree went out, and the wise men were about to get killed. And they sought Daniel and his companions to kill them. So Daniel was considered one of the wise men because he believed in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He believed in Yahweh, right? And so he said, we want everybody that's considered themselves wise to be killed, to be wiped out, because he was on a tyrant. So he was upset. So then Daniel was like, why is the decree of the king so urgent? So this is what Daniel said in verse 15. And Daniel went and requested the king to appoint him a time to meet with the king. So he went and said, look, man, you want to kill us all? Let me set up a time to meet with you. So Daniel met with the king, Nebuchadnezzar. Then Daniel went into his house, is verse 17 of chapter 2, Daniel 2, verse 17. Then Daniel went to the house and made his matter known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They changed his name. Those were his godly companions. He had godly counsel in the midst of Babylon. So the first point I got out of this is forsake not the assembly of the brethren. Always pray for one another. Always link up with one another. If you can't do it naturally, we got this Facebook. We got Zoom, we got YouTube, we got many ways of communicating, but we got to link up with like minds and like spirits, right? Okay, so they all prayed and they fasted and they were seeking God. And then the mystery was revealed to Daniel in the vision at the night. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven, right? So also another scripture says, any 2 or 3 gathered in my name on one accord, I will visit them. So he wants us to always encourage one another and speak words of life and positive according to the word of God, according to the word of knowledge through the Holy Spirit, one to another. Once we go on the island by ourselves and do our own thing, we have a us four and no more mentality, or me, myself, and I mentality. And you think you're the only one that's going through a situation, or the only one that God has revealed revelation to. But he wants us to come together on one accord, So that was the first thing in Daniel chapter 2, verse 17. Okay, Daniel was given understanding the mystery, the hidden secret of the king's dream. So a lot of times we're dealing with a cult. A cult means hidden, but that's not what's going on in this situation. People think they're going to get some deep knowledge by getting to fallen angel knowledge, or get these mysteries, or their light of the, they use a lot of the words from the Bible. The Bible says we are the light of the world, and these guys say we're the light of the, they say they're the light of the world because they got some hidden mysteries that they hide only from the world, only to themselves. You got to join their organization to know the secret fallen angel knowledge, is what I call it. But God said, I don't hide it from no man. I reveal it to all. But he said, he who has an ear, let him hear. When he spoke in parables, and when he speak in parables, it goes over people's head because they're spiritually discerned. So sometimes people think they can just pick up the Bible and just read it, and I'm gonna figure out what's going on with the things of God, and that, and sometimes some of the things are hard to understand. They're mysteries, right? Because the carnal mind is enmity towards God. So we only have to interpret the things of the Spirit, by the Spirit, from the Spirit, right? If somebody was to write an autobiography, and I can assume, like, I think this chapter means this, I think that chapter means that. But if we go right to the source, what if we had access to the author and say, hey, what did you mean in chapter 2? What did you mean in chapter 3? Then that source of the author can tell me exactly what that mean from the horse's mouth, or from the author's mouth, I should say. All right. So Daniel was given to understand the hidden secrets of the king's dream. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belong wisdom and might. Okay. Verse 21, he changes times and season. He removes kings and set up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So God basically saying the sovereignty of God, the sovereignty of Yahweh is in control. He said he removes kings and set up kings. And I want you to know the different things that's going on right now. We got different leadership in place. And sometimes some people are voting for, want to go for one leader or the other leader. And the ultimate goal is to have a nation without borders and just to have one leader or the Antichrist or a team of leaders. But God said, I'm in control. I remove kings and I set up kings, right? I put people in control. That's what Daniel got after he seen what God had revealed to him in this dream. That was prophetic. It was powerful. But another thing too, he said Daniel's benediction come immediately after God reveals the mystery of the king's dream. Once again, this display of solid character of Daniel, who probably credits God for the revelation without haste. Daniel boasts of God's attributes, wisdom, and might. Only God has such infinite power to reveal those things which are hidden from the eyes of men. So he didn't take it for himself, right? All the glory, all the honor goes to Yahweh, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Ancient of Days, the name above all names. All glory goes to him. A lot of times we like to share honor, share glory, share prestige. We got to be careful. I'm God's man. I'm God's this. I'm God's that. And he revealed it to you to share to others. He said to edify. Edify comes from the word edifice. Edifice is where we get the word build up, right? When we build up, these things that God revealed to us or give to us, gifts and talents and abilities are to edify and to build up his body so they can go forth, not to make you look good and make you look all of that. And that's one thing a carnal leader will do. They will build themselves up. You know what I mean? They think they have to do all of these different hoops and loops and do all of this different. You don't have to do all that. Walk circumspectly, walk in the knowledge, wisdom, and the abilities that God, Yahweh, gave you, and then you'll be a blessing. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a stumbling stone. You don't want to be just offensive, but you want to be able to share the truth and love. Sometimes the truth cuts, and it is what it is. But I'd rather have, if I got a tumor or cancer growing in me, and Yahweh is a skilled physician, the skilled surgeon, I'd rather take his knife and cut that out of me than to leave it in me, and then I have to be cancerous because I don't want to go under the knife. I don't want to get cut. Right? I don't want to get pruned. Right? He said, when I get pruned, I bring forth much fruit. I'm going to my message from Sunday, so I don't want to go into that. Okay. Daniel 2:22. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness and the light as well. So basically, you cannot hide nothing from God, not even thoughts. He said, man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. We can't intimidate. We can't manipulate. We can't even gaslight God, right? He said, those who come to him, he said, rewarder of those who diligently seek him, and those that come to him must know that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. And we come to him by faith and believing in the finished works that he done, right? There is no unsearchable mystery which is not laid completely bare before God. Nothing can hide from his eyes, because the light dwells in him. Darkness has no power to shroud anything from his view. Light shines forth from his being. All things are illuminated before him. His knowledge, his wisdom has no bounds. So we got these different secret societies and cults, and they going underground and they have secret oaths and doing all of these different things and just doing stuff underground. And God is sitting right there in the meeting, like, really? And so if he wants to, sometimes he revealed those secrets to his servants, the prophets. He revealed those secrets to the intel, like you having a bug. You know how the spy and different things, they put a bug in the room or they tap the phone so you can listen in on the conversation. With Yahweh, he taps the room of the enemy and he listens to the conversation and he reveals it to his servants, the prophets. And that's why it's so crystal clear the things that's going on in the world today, right? He revealed it to his servants, the prophets. But the prophets are disrespected, they're downtrodden, they're misunderstood, or they're gaslighted. Me and my brothers are talking about that word gaslight. We'll talk about that later, but it's intimidation and manipulation to suppress the truth, to suppress the gifts and the talents and ability that are in his service, the prophets. So they gaslight that information. And so now you don't have no intel, right? And we in the left field with our hands open and the balls will pop up right field, right? We're in the wrong place. We're out of position, and we won't be able to catch a pop up from the left field if we're in the right field, or vice versa, from the right field if we're in the left field. Okay, so we have to respect the gifts and the talents that Yahweh has left down here, spiritually discerned. And he reveals them for such a time as this. He reveals them when he wants to. He might not reveal anything. He might not say, I'm not going to show anything to you. Trust and obey. You can eat of any tree of this garden, but don't eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And you don't have to think no more about it. Okay, God, you're the good shepherd. You have my best interest in mind. I ain't got to eat it. You got to rest and trust, because God will never hide nothing from you. He will never hide nothing from you. He'll never leave you or forsake you. He'll never put nothing more. He'll never give you things that's going to mess you up, because he's a good shepherd. The enemy, John 10:10, comes to steal, kill, or destroy. Yahweh will come that you may have life, and that more abundantly through his son, Yahushua, HaMashiach. He come that you may have life, and that more abundantly. Jesus the Christ. He shed his blood on. But let's go back to this. Daniel 2:23. Oh, for you have given me wisdom and might, and have now made known to me. Sorry, what we ask you. For you have made known the king's matter. He made known the insight, the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the comprehensive, the intel. Do not destroy the wise men of Babylon. Bring me before the king, and I will show the king the interpretation. So he had wise counsel with like-minded believers. Yahweh showed them the interpretation of vision, the dreams. He gave them intel on the kingdom of darkness, right? Or not the kingdom of darkness, I'm sorry, on Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And he said, don't kill everybody, because he's about to kill all the wise men, everybody. He said, don't kill them. Take me to the king. I'm about to reveal it to him. Now notice, I remind you, if I give you information, I say, hey, I had a dream about water, or I had a dream about dogs, or I had a dream about parrots or birds, or you could come up with something real deep. Yay, birds. Birds mean fly. I believe I can fly. Aye. Hey, I say you can fly. Yay. Yeah, you just made that up because y'all tell you something about the birds. Or swim. Oh, water, living water. Oh, hey, you'll swim like a fish. Fisher of men. You know what I mean? Or however, you know how they do it. Because I gave you information. But if I say, I want you to tell me what my dream was and interpret it, and I don't tell you what I dreamt about, and you come back and tell me you had a dream about fish, and that means this, that, and the other, it'll blow your mind. Because God knows the thoughts and intents on the heart, because he can read everybody's heart and mind at the same time. That's powerful. Daniel 2:25. I have found among the exiles of Judah a man who will make known the king's interpretation. So the captain, he went back to Nebuchadnezzar and said, I found somebody from the exiles of Judah. Now remember, we was in slavery in Babylon back for 70 years, because we was disobeying and we was tripping. So he said, I found among the exiles. I have found among the exiles revealing the desire to get credit for the discovery. So Arioch, Arioch, wanted to get credit for the discovery of helping the king out. Of course, Daniel's interpretation is wrong. That could mean his head, right? So the king of Babylon's dream will come true, not from the wisest of Babylon, but from the Jewish or Hebrew exile, from the Hebrew exile. Never forget that our God uses foolish things of the world to confound the wise. 1 Corinthians 1:27. He does the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Exile from Judah, interpret the dream of the king. Wow. No magician, no necromancy, no sorcerer, no stargazer. He's doing something in that. Okay. Daniel 2:26. The king declared to Daniel, whose name is Belshazzar, are you able to make known to me the dream that I have seen and its interpretation? So Daniel, they changed his name to Belshazzar, right? And just like when we came over here, they changed our names to, well, you see, if you see roots that say Kunta Kinte, he said, my name is Kunta Kinte. He said, no, your name is Toby. So they have to change your identity. They have to change your name and then and erase your history and change who you are so you can be absorbed into that culture, right? Submerged into that culture. And they say, okay, well, your history starts with, well, for us today, your history starts with the American slave trade, and you was in the sticks with a bone in your nose, and we came and we put you on slave ships and brought you over here, and you picked cotton and tobacco, and if we didn't teach you, then you wouldn't have known anything. And it's really reverse. We had awesome civilizations. We had kings and queens and doctors and lawyers and engineers and scientists. And so you just didn't catch agriculture, people that was in agriculture, right? Because how do they know how to do all of this ag work? Put them out in the field and say, do it? No, they knew who they was taking, right? But we ain't going to go into all that. But the name changed. The Nebuchadnezzar changed Daniel's name to Belshazzar, okay? And Belshazzar pretty much means Prince of Baal, and Baal protect the king. Baal is the Babylonian word for the Lord that was used to refer to Marduk, Marduk, the chief god of Babylon. So Marduk was the chief god of Babylon. Okay. However, as Nebuchadnezzar will soon realize, Marduk is powerless to interpret his dream. Only the true God of Israel, Yahweh, has such power. The king was taking comfort by mainly the false gods of Babylon, right? That's why he went to his wise counsel. When he was in trouble, he went to his gods, right? It is likely that the king wondered how an Hebrew exile, so unlearned in invoking the powers of Babylon's false god, could possibly do what no other wise man in his kingdom has been capable of doing, namely telling the king's dream and interpretation. Daniel 2:28. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the latter days. Your dreams and your vision, your head lay on these beds are deeds. And Daniel revealed the dream. He told what the king dreamt and told what each part meant. And I'm going to stop right here. And on part 2, I'm going to share with you what those dreams was, what those nations were, what those the interpretation of the dream was until this current day. Subscribe, like, share with 5 other people, and let other people know. If this channel has been a blessing to you, let other people know about it. All right, 1.
Perfect.